wrong. I thought, you know, because I know I've done some wrong, so I thought, you know,
Yeah, at first
maybe it was get back.
At first I used to panic, but now I'm just patient because that's
You
just the way
patient
it
with it,
goes.
yeah.
That's
I'm
just the
like,
way it goes.
I'm here. I'm telling you, I
Yeah.
told my head. Yeah,
Everybody getting used to it, and that's just the way it goes. So thank you so much. Today we got
yeah,
Shang.
yeah.
Please introduce yourself. Like I say, Hollywood Now. It's a platform where we just talk with today's hottest stars and influencers, and they share about their journey in Hollywood. And I know that changes over time. That's why this platform is so critical, because I believe empowering people with the right information makes a difference. And so
Right.
please share with people who you are, and we go from there.
Okay. What's going on, everyone? My name is Shang, comedian, producer, and I was acting before, but now comedy took over. But I started as a comic, but comedy took over, and that was the one was making me dilute. So I was like, let me stay with what's making me dilute on my own terms instead of trying to compromise myself. A lot of actors compromise themselves, and a lot of times with black folks, they want us to be compromised. And with comedy, I could just be more in control.
Okay, so let me first start off saying a little bit of your background. You was a Def Jam Stars, BT Comic View, The Late Show, The News, NCIS, Politically Incorrect. You've been around for a long time. And you
Yeah, 29 years.
A wonderful resume. And you out of Brooklyn. So BK, Brooklyn, New York, right? Brooklyn
All day.
Yeah, Brooklyn in the building. So how is it different stand-up in Brooklyn versus stand-up in Hollywood in LA?
New York, you got like 2 seconds, 3 seconds to be funny before they're like, get off this, what you doing? I think they're more aggressive about be funny now. Whereas in here, they'll like let you kind of ease into it a little bit more. And Hollywood has its own agenda. It wants you to be a certain way. And I think that I didn't play that game as much, but somehow it worked out because of the internet that I end up being somewhat successful.
So where did it all start for you as far as you knowing you wanted to do entertainment, you wanted to be a comic, you wanted to be an actor? Where did it begin to? Was you trained in school or?
No. I just, what happened is, it's like with me, I was more like one of those people that constantly was voicing his opinion, and people thought it was funny, even though I was dead serious. Like, I was like, yeah, how come black people ain't got no pencils? Like, I was one of those dudes. You know, the dude, like, what was it movie, Do the Right Thing, where it's always the one dude always like, yeah, but if black people had it, and I think it's because I was high yellow, I was extra militant.
Yeah.
But I was around a lot of brothers, like the older brothers, that were like that. So it made me that way. And for some reason, they would say it serious, and when I would say it, they're like, man, you funny. And so I kept doing it, and then somebody suggested I should try to do comedy and try to, mix the two where I'm talking about stuff. Because I used to listen to a lot of the brothers that call 5%ers. Have you ever heard of 5%ers?
Yes.
Yeah. I used to, 5%ers, I used to listen to a lot of the brothers from that, and Zulu Nation, and a lot of brothers from, it's like Fruit of Islam, where I didn't want, that was a little too extreme for me, at least personally, but I did like the message. Yeah. And I thought, how can I do both, where I can be as aggressive as I want to be and do what I want to say, but, get laughs and still be funny. I mean, get laughs, be funny, but say what I want to say. So I started that way, and it just started really slow. I also used to, open a lot of the black punk. I don't know if you've heard of like Afro punk.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to, a lot of black punk and black rock and roll I was into. And so where you could just really push the envelope. Whereas sometimes I think that back then, black folks, for instance, if Teddy Riley was popular, people would try to do what Teddy Riley did,
right,
instead of trying to do your own thing. Right. And I didn't like that. I used to hate that. So And I did it for a while because I thought I needed to make money because, you know, my landlord ain't gonna keep. I'm not gonna keep ducking my landlord.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't it interesting how the liberation or the freedom as a comic to say, you know, to exercise the First Amendment right and get like a pass to really say something. Did you find a home in doing that, doing stand up? Because you had the freedom to kind of like say whatever you want to say and kind
Oh
of
yeah,
get away with it.
that's a good way to. Wow. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. No. I end up. Let me put this down. I don't see if I can put it on the little thing here. If it'll work. Ah, it worked. There we go. Yeah. For me, man, it was more like, yo, man, and I was real. And I hate people saying woke now. I get mad because I'm like, man, me and a lot of people I know been woke, and now they, you know, we woke, and I'm like, man, I've been like that, and you know, and I got kicked out of comedy clubs for being that way. I got kicked out. And some entertainment people didn't want to mess with me because they said, oh, well, you know, he's trying to start a revolution. And I wasn't trying to be like Malcolm X, but I was not trying to be Stephen Fetchit. I didn't want to be that dude. So for me, yeah, man, it was great. And for a while there, I did like standard stock material. You know, I'd mix in like a couple political point of views. Then it would be standard stock material. Then, and as I got older, the more I like voiced my opinion more and more. And then I got popular, like it started trending a little bit. Yes. And then when it started trending, I felt like I could do things on my own without the industry, within the industry, if that makes sense. I don't know, did that make sense?
No, that did make sense because I was going to ask you the other question that I had, because is it important for you and as well as other celebrities and stars to have a message, you know, really within your entertainment, your talent? A lot of people say, well, leave a message out, but is it really important to have a message with it? Like it's a bigger picture behind just me entertaining you.
Right. Oh, yeah. No. I mean, I don't think everybody does. I don't think that everybody has to be that way. I mean, but it's super duper important to me. And it's been super important to me. And I've been doing it like that. And everybody that even sees this will be like, oh yeah, that's him. That's it. I say some wild shit. And then people would equate it to like I talk about kicking white babies down steps. I wasn't talking about kicking white babies down steps. I wasn't even thinking like that. But that was some of the stuff I said, because one time I was on stage and I was getting heckled by some I call them European Americans. That's what they are, the European Americans, because they call us African Americans.
Right.
And we ain't from here. And guess what? They ain't from here either. So European Americans was heckling me. And then I just started saying, I said, y'all know y'all lazy. Everything y'all did, y'all went and got somebody to do the shit for you because you didn't want to do it yourself. And got this write-up about it. And people were like, oh, he's racist. And but for some reason, it turned into more conversation with me. When they got to know me, they went, you know, or they knew that I was like saying, no, I was being honest. I was like, yo, y'all really have. Anybody that goes get slaves, that means you didn't want to do the shit. And you know you didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, and then it turned into conversation. And there's also perception with black folks that think I'm mixed because I'm high yellow. And they think, and I'm too old to be trying to convince anybody, but they would think, oh, well, you know, he mixed. No, I'm not. There's somebody back in the day, slipped into the slave quarters and lightened my ass up. I didn't, you know, it wasn't a plan.
I think that's important to know that exists too, that the genes intrinsically of African Americans it varies. It's light skin, you know, whether it's further back or whether it's, you know, currently your parents was mixed. But that's important that people who are not, who both parents are black, to say, both my parents are black. You know, I don't feed into the whole mix. Yeah. So that's really important. So as
my brother, your complexion.
See, that's how it
is. And he don't look like it ain't like he looked like the mailman. He's like, you know, like unless my mama was a hoe on the side and I didn't know about it. Because I mean, I would have fought her. I wouldn't have fought nobody. Never fight your moms. That's not right. Yeah. But I think that, yeah, man, I think that a lot of stuff that you know, I was doing at the time worked. It worked with comedy, but it took a while with me. and I'm still trying to get it done. I mean, I'm doing all right. I'm not doing like the COVID that shut all that shit down.
Yeah.
But I had a bunch of gigs. But
So
I don't
what?
have a manager, huh?
Wow. So what was the turning point for you to say, okay, I'm doing stand up, but now I want to start to audition for TV, film. Did it prepare you for that, or was it additional regimen preparation for that?
It was additional because it was like I wanted to do stand up and produce stuff, but I didn't want to do acting necessarily. It wasn't on my agenda. And the acting thing came when other people were like, yo, you're getting kind of popular as a comic. Maybe you should transition into TV. And I was like, I don't know, man, because I don't like some roles I didn't want to do. I'm like, and it ain't a diss to brothers that wear dresses. I was like, I don't want to wear no dress. I'm not going to do that. Nah, like they would always say that. Like there was one agency that dropped me because I wouldn't go for an audition to wear a dress.
Wow.
And then they would always say, well, you know, Flip Wilson did it.
Yeah.
And you know, Eddie Murphy did it. And I'm like, well, that's them. That's those motherfuckers. That ain't me. So good for them. It's just that don't work for me.
Right.
And for some reason, mysteriously, the agency didn't want to call me back anymore. Is that Shang ignore his calls? So I mean, I get it, but that didn't work for me.
If you didn't say I'm mixed, but I'm mixed.
If I'd have said I'm mixed, they'd have been like, oh, okay, well, let it go. No, man, it was just like it was so much bullshit, man. So I started doing some independent stuff, and some of it hit.
Yeah.
I did one that it started getting circulated on all of the actory. I call them actory because they're in another field where they're so fucking phony. It's hard for me to deal with some of them. But I think that is where I started going and doing pretty well. And I don't have a manager. I don't have I have an agency, but they don't really do their thing. So a lot of the stuff I've nailed down has been me. And I'm not acting like I'm some solo, like a lone wolf that I know everything. But for some reason, I just was like, I'll get it. If they would say, oh, you can't go on that tour. Yeah, I can. I'll get it. And I did. I got on some of the good tours. Def Jam, I never did Def Jam tour. Def Jam, because Bob Sumner and some of the people that were in charge of it maybe felt I wasn't right for it or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done Def Jam shows, but I never get on that tour, which would have changed a lot of my financial life because I'd either be doing extremely well or just getting nothing.
Everything dried up. Yeah. One of the things I love about stand-up comics and actors, and especially in what you do, is the differentiation between a comedic actor and then a stand-up comic, which is totally different. But you can be funny in a role, but you're still an actor, and except with stand-up, the art of stand-up is totally different. And totally different. What I like about stand-up is the difference between going on stage, telling a joke, and when it evolves until we come to see Shang perform and tell and talk. So you can stand on stage and just talk about whatever, and it's funny and people love it. And people is there to see you as a personality.
Right.
And so that's really the evolution of the stand-up comic, where you want to get
to,
where people have now is liking you and what you say. And I think that you did reach that pinnacle. And I think that I got
to that point. It's 20 years. 20 years where it got to the point now where when I would go to a club, it wasn't just people, hey, we're going out to see comedy. Yeah. I'm at a point now where people go, oh, we're going to see, and I hate to say third person, but we're going to see Shang.
Yeah.
We're going to see this dude because I've seen him say some incredibly crazy shit.
Yes.
And it was funny. And it was, I'm trying to definitely do poignant stuff or political stuff, even if it's edgy. Now, I like being edgy. That's a hard thing to do because they want to kind of, you got to think, okay, I don't know how long ago Cosby was. I came up in that era and I wasn't like that at all. Right. You know, I was I was kind of militant. I'm not as militant now, but I think as you get older, you go, I'm not gonna like be mad at like fuck pandas, like because pandas is mixed black and white. I was mad at everything. Like, yeah, so you think you're just gonna say, and you know, I would threaten people, and I was kind of a nut. I was saying crazy stuff to people. Like somebody white would say something to me, I'm like, you know, I'll beat your ass. Like, and we would be at like an industry function.
Wow.
And I just felt like, no, you don't get away with that shit here. I'll take you outside and stomp your mouth.
Yeah.
And I think that slowed me down a little bit when you threaten people at 20th Century Fox, when you tell them I will smack your face. Because they would talk all funny style to you. They would say all kind of, I'm in a meeting and this dude said, I'm not a suit and tie dude. Sometimes I don't even shave. I don't, you know what I'm saying? So I got cleaned up, suit and tie, haircut, going to the meeting, figure, let me play the game. And we're in the middle of the meeting and this dude gonna say, yeah, but look at you. You wouldn't know that part of the contract. Yeah. And I said, he didn't realize I stayed up half the night, read the whole contract that they were offering me. And I said, you mean paragraph 7, article 5, if you use my likeness in any way, shape, or form, you have to consult with me first. You mean that? Man, I should smack you in your fucking head. And, that meeting ended. And then I said, man, we're going to take your offer and fax it down the street to Paramount. How about that? Who are you talking to? And of course, I had my manager at the time, not manager because he didn't sign me, but he worked with me because I made money. Was freaked out because he said that he actually said that to this dude who was an executive. And I was like, yeah, but I'm a man first. Yes. And you got a person that said it on there. Yeah, back in the day, that Public Enemy era, I was really like that. It wasn't like I was playing at it. I was like, my personality was really like that. So I had to step back. At the older I got, I learned from some of the older comics. Ronaldo Ray. Have you heard of Ronaldo Ray?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you had? Oh, good.
He was on 227. Cool. 227.
Huh?
227.
Huh?
Wasn't he on 227?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. See? Yeah, man. I knew I wanted to do this with you.
He was funny.
Yeah, you on it. No, and he schooled me a little bit. I was arguing with somebody about, and then I thought I'm just gonna stab him in the forehead. I told you, I really was. I really was aggressive. Like I'm kind of person. Yeah, like I had to time out.
Like, is he for real?
Is he for real? Exactly. I'm like I'll choke a puppy. I mean, I was a little nutty. So I was a little nutty, and I was about to get in a fight with this dude, another comic, who was just talking smack to me. I'm not a bagger. You know when comics bag on each other?
Yeah, that's what
I'm not one of those dudes. Like when I come to the show, I come to do the show.
Well,
I'm not standing out.
Camaraderie among peers to a lot of comics, but
I wasn't like that.
Yeah. So that was part of also the concept of this show, Hollywood Now, and dealing with comics and whatever genre you in entertainment. As far as comics, how was the embrace of fellow comics who was before you or your peers that's come up with you? How was that like? How was that? Did they embrace you? Was it competitive? Were they like, cliquish? Like, how was that for you?
Yeah.
Anybody embrace you?
Yeah. No, I got embraced. I got embraced by, I got some dates I've done with some of the bigger acts that liked me. No, I didn't have to. I for some reason, I think that they understood that I wanted black comedians. And not that I didn't like white comedians. I mean, they were funny too, but I just felt like black comedians have such a harder road to get to success. I big up to everybody. So, and then you had the ones that on some jealousy shit, and the ones that was angry about whatever's going on in their life.
Right.
But no, I didn't have beef with other than that one guy and the one comic. And other than that, no, everybody embraced me. People would give me props when I have a good set. They give me props. They would, I think that I should have networked more, but I didn't because I was like, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I'm cool with 99.9% of the comments because I think that a lot of comics see that my intentions are for us to come up. And so it wasn't like I would fight fights that they wouldn't fight. Right. Like when the clubs didn't want to pay us enough and they treated the black comics like we was some side chick that they should, treat like we ain't shit. And I would be the one to be like, look, we're gonna have a meeting, and I would meet with the clubs and say, look, it ain't going down that way. BET Comic View was treating us kind of shitty, and back in the day, and I was one of the ones that was on the boycott. Like, until you understand that we're bringing in millions too, we ain't fucking with you. So, and I took a hit from that because there was a lot of people like, ooh, we don't want, but what it did was, with the general public that know me was with it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what we gonna do. Like I had a lot of people like that around me. So, nah, man, I'm cool as hell with him, except for that one comic, man. He was talking smack to me, and I was like, dude, I ain't that. I want to say his name, but
you mentioned Ronaldo Ray as one, but
he's one of the top. He schooled me on my.
We use a lot of great comics and great people in general in the entertainment industry, and well as in our Black experience, we use a lot of wonderful, great people with that wisdom. Ronaldo Ray, you mentioned, who was someone else that gave you good advice, that gave you that
Excellent advice.
Yeah. That
well, easy. That's easy. Mr. Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney, listen, angry yellow nigga. You need to get your shit together and not threaten people. Violence is not always the answer. And I mean, but yeah, he used to call me angry yellow nigga. I'm like, dude, I got a name. No, I had to check him once. I'm like, I got a name, man. Don't be saying that. But I think it was the main one, Ronaldo Ray, pertaining to my personality and got me more chill. Because he was like, yeah, he said the story to me. Yeah, I'm arguing with this motherfucker for about an hour. And then I realized who the asshole was, and I walked away. And I didn't get it until I was in my car, like, wait a minute. I'm the asshole for arguing with somebody for an hour.
Right.
I should just let shit go. So I learned from him, and just being around him and him schooling me. Another comic, George Wallace.
Wow.
George Wallace, Dick Gregory, would constantly school me because I went on the road with him. I opened up for Dick Gregory. He would school me all the time. And John Witherspoon also, who I didn't do stand-up with, but for some reason felt the need to always talk to me, pull me aside. Look here, young man, save your money, put your money aside. If you get $100 gig, you're really getting a $75 gig. Take the $25. And so he would school me on saving money and the business side of it. I got a lot of wisdom from him. Dick Gregory, just as a man, as a man, I learned a lot from just because he would talk to me, and I was stunned he was even talking to me. Yeah. He would just pull me to the side and check me and tell me when to. So Dick Gregory, huge influence, business-wise and as a man. I would say, comedy style-wise, there was a couple people. Eddie Murphy, style-wise, because I wanted that charisma, but I wanted to be conscious. I wanted to say the stuff I wanted to say, but I still liked his swag. Yeah. So I would say Eddie Murphy for sure. How do you balance the industry? Like, this is an industry show, but how do you balance the industry and how do you balance your soul? Yeah. And I think that it's hard sometimes, especially for us. And I just read this thing. I want to watch this thing too, about where Nick Cannon stood his ground and said what he said. And, of course, Hollywood, you can't say stuff about Jewish people. You can't say stuff. And he proved his point when they let him go, but he wasn't saying hateful things pertaining to Jewish people. He was just saying, this is a fact of the business. They do have, and it is not, you're probably going to get static with this one. It is not that they are bad people. It's just they really do have a huge amount of control when it comes to the business. And when you have that kind of control, you can dictate which way the river flows, you know?
No, I think it's really great that he's doing that, because a lot of people don't respect someone who's not as recognized as certain people. And so when someone who's in the thick of things and controversy that's recognized, then a lot of people tend to listen. And what's so great about this is that he talked to people that's supposed to be sentimental people, as if someone that like us has suffered, and even with the time that's going on now, you think they'd be more sensitive to a response that he probably feel organically predicated on what's happening now, even today. And so
Yeah.
I think that was kind of extreme to let him go, not understanding the conditions in which he's sick. It might be emotional, but when you're in the thick of things, that's what happens. And so I just didn't understand why would they let him go, even under the
Oh yeah, well I know why. I mean, the same reason some clubs wouldn't book me. You know, it's like, oh, you're gonna start stuff. I used to do shows and I'd come with it. I mean, back in the day, I was running with some medieval ass dudes. I gotta admit, they was medieval as hell. They was like, they was a little too much. So I remember I was doing some shows and they came to my show and they kind of thuggish, but they was conscious, but they was thuggish. They kind of people that would rob you, then sit down and talk to you about the message of why they have to rob you. Like that kind of brother. Like, brother, look, brother, I wouldn't normally rob you, but I had to do it today. Like, okay, wow, you still robbed them. What you talking about, you goofy bastard? But like most of the people I dealt with, but I think that the bottom line is a lot of younger comics don't, because they got the internet and they can blow up off of something.
Yeah.
You know, but they don't work on the craft as much. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think they're not as strong as stand-ups, but they're great at social media.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're great at social media. They're great at that. So there's a tendency for them not to look at their elders as much. But for some reason, I've been lucky because they know I run my own business and I've done okay. You know, I've done okay. So
have you been taking advantage of this downtime? What have you been doing preparing, you know, as far as staying active and productive? Have you working on any material? What you've been doing during this downtime?
Lots of porn. No, I'm kidding. No, but these porn sites. No porn. Not every day. Come on, just on the weekends. You can't have a full diet of porn and then you end up being, you know, a little sick individual. But no, I have been building up my traffic to my website. I've been lucky because my social media is, you know, I'm at about 3 million people total, you know, total of people that, so I can like release an album just to them and, you know, make a little bit of money. But I've literally released albums just to my fans.
Wow. And
if anybody else want to buy it, cool, but just to them. And that would pay my rent for a while. And because I'm not balling like that. There was a point where I was doing big things. And, you know, once my son was born, my first son, my older son, Cameron, I stepped back because I realized all I do is work. All I do is work. And I've been lucky. I'm not, everybody that's listening, I'm lucky because with the crazy shit I did, I'm surprised I'm alive, let alone telling jokes. Yeah. But no, and I stepped back and wanted to be my, you know, and it was just me and my son. So I think that slowed me down a little bit career-wise. And then also I have two boys. I have my two boys. Who I think that slowed me down. And also when my pops passed, I think that kind of threw me. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Like, no, like shit wasn't as funny. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got, now I'm good. I mean, and he's the one that was telling me, my pops would tell me all kind of shit. Like, I didn't outwardly wasn't walking around crying and sad, but he would tell me, look, people die. That's the way the shit is. Look, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to die. So don't cry. And this is what he actually said. Don't act like no bitch. People cry, but keep that crying to yourself and just keep it moving. And then he told me to cremate him and take his ashes and throw him over Atlantic City Boardwalk because he loved gambling more than he loved my mother. And, yeah, no, but you know what? I know you say, wow, but that's the way he was. And I thought that was the most real, honest, horrible shit to say. Yeah. But it was funny to me. Like, I know this man, like, you know how you laugh and go, did you just say that? He says, yeah, man. And said, I'm just telling you what it is. And then he's like, and don't be no bitch about it. And I'm like, wow. So I end up, we did, you know, it sounded like a movie. We took his ashes down, like me and my brothers took his ashes down the Atlantic City Boardwalk. And I got my older son, and we go down and we throw the ashes, and the wind blows. And the ashes come back on us. And it wasn't me. My uncle Phoebe said the hilarious shit. He said, "We cannot get rid of this nigga," and it was like it made us all, instead of being sad, just start cracking up and saying all of the horrible shit he did was kind of funny to us.
Yeah.
And after that, I was fine. I was fine. I was fine, at least emotionally, but I did step back from the industry. But I mean, like comedy wise, I don't know what it is. Something. I mean, even the people that are on here, it's like I think that Black people don't realize the power we got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got power. Everybody emulates us. Everybody copies us. Asian people try to get our swag.
Yeah.
White people for sure get our swag. You see them rocking the white. We walk and we talk and our flavor and everything. And I think that that's the one thing I wish more Black entertainment people would embrace more. That we got a big chunk of money in this business, and we can start using it to build our own shit, not to negate what, being part of the whole business, but at the same time own more of a piece of it. I don't like the way Tyler Perry does some things on screen. I don't like the Medea, but I give him props for building a fucking empire.
Yes.
But I just don't, it's not my flavor. Like, there's songs you like. There's a song you like and a song you don't like. It don't mean that song's bad. It's just a song you don't like. I don't like the Medea character as much because it seems old hat to me. Like, I've seen that 1,000 times. We've seen Martin Lawrence has done that. Eddie Murphy's done. It's like, do something new.
Yeah.
And so,
but when you don't have variety, you're just grateful to have something. I think that he came along, like some of the other ones say, only enough room for one or two. And he came along when there was nobody else. Unlike your day, when a lot of great comics was doing it, and they were all good. And it was like, wow. So you got entertained. It was funny. You was laughing hysterically. And it was a great saturation of great comics back then in the 90s and what have you. But a lot of times it changes. And then we're grateful to have somebody on TV. And Tyler Perry came along. And I think that it was as good to have him. But we did always scream for variety. And I think he's doing that now, but yeah, for a long
he's doing
time,
it now, yeah.
It seemed like it was the same.
I just, he's not my flavor, but I give him crazy props for, putting people to work and giving people work and letting people express themselves. I just think comedy wise, not my flavor.
Yeah.
Not super funny to me.
Yeah.
But there's people that people think are hilarious that I don't think's funny.
Yeah.
So, and there's people that think I'm not funny at all. Now they're wrong. You motherfucker. But no.
That's so
no,
true.
no. I generally across the board, people know. Real recognize real. If you know what I'm saying? Like, if a lion walk into the room and another lion, the other lion looks and goes, yo, that's a lion. And so even if that lion is walking a different path, and I feel like with me, I'm at a point comedy wise where hitters know who I am. Like every heavy hitter in this business that's a comic, they know who the fuck I am because they didn't see me wreck a room.
Every comic about how, or he not my forte. And you can say that about the funniest people or people who you think is funny.
Exactly.
And I think that's every comic got that dichotomy or whatever. But the one thing that I can appreciate about comics is that they bring a certain type of real life to the stage, and although it could be their real life, it still comes across as character, And so, but it's like I'm hurting. I'm talking about my pain. I'm talking about real stuff, but we're laughing,
But see, that's what I think is good. I think that is good, and I think me talking about, like, I started talking about some of the people that I lost in my life. But I said the funny side of it, the funny side of the people I've lost in my life, people that passed away, people that, some of the really, really, really bad shit that I caused and that just happened because of the way I was.
Yes.
I'm older now, but what I'm saying, when I was younger, I really was a little bit nutty because I I thought violence was the way to go. Like,
Yeah.
I just felt like, I mean, even when I would take an L, I was like, well, yeah, you still knew you wasn't gonna mess with me, man.
Yeah.
I was that dude. Like, I'll bite you. I was like, I was something wrong with me. So I think, that tenacity did stay with me when I kind of full-time stand-up, when it would come to business, when it come to touring, making sure that everything's taken care of. And I've been lucky from that standpoint. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, yo, comedy right now, like a lot of comics, like I'm not competitive. I know this sounds weird. I don't compete with other comics because I feel like I'm in my own lane, do your thing, whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm not competing with other black folks. I'm like, I'm do my thing, and if you want me, you're gonna get me. And if you get him, good for him. Like, I do big up other people, even if I don't like their style. There's a couple comics I don't like their style, but I'm like, good for him for
Yeah.
getting his money.
Yeah.
Good for him for getting the
Because a
bag.
lot of success comes from being persistent and being consistent, and
Yep.
just being at the right place at the right time. And you could always put something together to make funny because it's a production, but it was consistent, and like,
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
that works too. Being persistent, being consistent, it has its favor, and so that's
Well,
why you can.
what made you do this? What made you do the King Solomon Entertainment thing? What made you do it?
Well, my flagship show is the Philanthropy at its Best, where I deal with humanitarian philanthropy work, because you see so much evil, so much, they say we live in a pessimistic society. I wanted to show the good. There's a lot of people that are changing lives, doing wonderful work, and it has a celebrity Hollywood component to that, but I do a lot of real everyday nonprofit and foundations.
Right. So do I.
The Hollywood Now show deals with Hollywood star, Hollywood celebrity, and their journey in Hollywood. I feel like Hollywood is forever changing, and so I think what makes a difference, I don't like, it's not a perfect rubric for this, but we all got this information, and like you said, I wish I would have been more networking. I wish I'd been more talkative and sharing more. And lots of times we don't share our experience, but we suffer in silence, and we go through the same challenges, and the same hurdles is there, but we're looking for that effective way, because all that matters is the results. We want to get the results. And like they used to say, it's more than one way to skin a cat. And I think we need to be open to that we get the results that we're looking for by doing what we do is necessary without compromising who we are, but just being effective in different approaches that we have. But it's a lot of dynamics to the entertainment as far as people scamming and conning and taking advantage. And even that, knowing the business side of entertainment as well, that hurts.
Right. That's where I focused on that.
So I see.
But I'm glad you do it that way, because like I would do stuff with it's called the Minority AIDS Project, because for some reason Black people don't get the same funding for medication for medication at the time when AIDS was really, there was a moment where AIDS was like on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of would do shows for them and raise money and for people to get their medication. Would do shows to bring awareness for testing. For people to come see me, we say you could either buy a ticket, or there's a truck parked out front. You have to take this AIDS test, and I know it's scary.
Yeah.
Take the test, and you get free tickets to my show.
Wow.
And we would do stuff like that. I would do stuff called back in the day, it's called Rock the Vote, Rap the Vote, and I would do stuff where in order to come see my show, you got to be registered to vote.
Wow.
And so and people say, well, I don't have my registration, I just want to pay. Well, hey, you know what? We got the paperwork right here. So we would register people, and they vote, and then they come in and get their laugh on. So I was doing a lot of stuff like that, and that worked. And in fact, we're going to do it again if everything goes back to normal. The plan was to do it again this year with different comedy organizations to get people to vote, because this year, even though a lot of Black folks go, my vote don't count. Well, this year we need to get that orange asshole out. And I don't care what nobody said. If you got some viewers that like, you can't say that about our president. Yes, I can, because they said all kind of dirty shit about Obama that didn't exist, and the stuff I'm saying about Trump absolutely is the truth. So I think that I use that platform. Like, I performed at the Democratic convention. You know, even though Hillary lost, and even though I wasn't a big fan of Hillary's, but I did perform there to get the message out. They hired me. They didn't pay me enough money. That part I thought was bullshit, but
yeah,
I performed there and I murdered because there wasn't anybody else talking that real shit
yeah,
at the Democratic convention. And that opened a lot of doors. Like, for instance, I stayed at a hotel. It wasn't a hotel. It was you know what a hostel is?
yes,
Yeah, I stayed at a hostel in Philly because all the hotels were booked up because of the convention.
yeah,
And the hostel I was staying at was about maybe 5-minute walk. And I walk. I don't like cars that come get me. I know it sounds goofy. Like if the place is near, if it's like a 10, 15-minute walk, I'll just walk.
yeah.
So I was walking. I performed there and I announced my Twitter. And 5-minute walk, got to the hostel, looked at my phone on my Twitter. 7,000 people followed me.
Wow.
In a 5-minute walk from performing at a niche. And it made me realize some people are going to like jazz. Some people like hip hop. Some people like this. I'm going to focus on my lane. And when I saw that, I was like, God damn, I've never had that kind of immediate bam.
Yeah.
On my not on my Instagram, on my Twitter at the time.
Yeah.
And so now I focus on my lane, entertainment wise, and what I want to do. And I try to get like-minded people that are going to uplift us.
Yes.
You know, still can be that raw. You can be raunchy, raw, and say what you want. But as long as the thread line is uplifting us, making sure that we get a piece of that, the pie that we make so much money for people. It's crazy. So I just feel like I have to get a piece of that.
Yeah.
And anybody that I work with different black production companies and stuff where I'll say, like Ice-T does this. I don't know if you know this. Well, he'll say in his contract, we got to have a black caterer. We got to have a black. Yeah. So I learned from that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. Put that in my contract. If I'm going to have whoever the publicist is, it's got to be a black publicist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whoever. And then they'll go, well, and then I go, well, you want me? You got to have them. And I would do stuff like that. Or I would say, look, if we're going to have a makeup artist, it's got to be a black person. Yeah. And even if it wasn't a black production, I was like, well, this is what I need.
That's a start, and that makes a difference. And that way it starts to grow from there because that's really important, you know. And so I think Cosby did something to that effect as well.
Yep.
So a lot of people do it.
Well, we can't say Cosby now because it's
yeah.
I know people. Yeah, people are like, Cosby did that, but he did a lot of this. That's what people always say. Like, yeah, but you know what? So did Woody Allen. Y'all kill me with that. Y'all let all these other people that did bad shit get out of here. Don't get me wrong. What Cosby, even though I'm not in that vein, because I was way more extreme than Cosby.
Yeah.
The stand-up wise and just in general, but behind the scenes, you don't know. Sinbad would school me. Sinbad is, don't get it twisted. Sinbad's a thug. He go hard in the paint. D.L. Hughley, I like a lot. I like the way he does his thing. And shout out to D.L. I'm glad he's got better. You know, he diagnosed, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was a trip. And so I think that the main thing for me is, and for you, and for all of us, is to network with each other and not exclude. Because I was angry to the point where I wouldn't even work with certain people that tried to, you know, demean black folks. Yeah. I'm like, if you do that, you ain't gonna work with me.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? So, or clubs that if I even heard an inkling of they were treating us bad, I'm like, well, I ain't gonna do that club. And it took me years and years to get in a position where, like, okay, look, Shang, we're sorry. We're gonna listen, man. We're gonna we'll bring in. You can bring in as many people as you want. And then when that started changing, you started seeing like really conservative white people go, all right, we'll let you have this. I said, you ain't letting me have. You working with me because you know I'm gonna help you build it. I'm gonna help you build an addition off your house.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. So don't act like you just you just like, oh, let's help the little Negro.
Yeah.
No, and everybody that deal with me know that this is the way we have to do stuff, and the way you're doing it, and the fact that you're interviewing. I saw some people. I know some of the people you interviewed. I know a lot of
Okay.
people you interviewed.
You said some of the videos weren't working. What was not working? The videos wasn't playing on IG?
No, it like I would click on. I was trying to watch. I watched a little bit of one, and then it just went gray.
Okay. Well,
I cut my phone off, cut it back on, and then it kind of worked. Yeah, but something I was trying to watch,
yeah.
and
A lot of people
I think that
I just met over the years that a lot of comments are just real people. And when I just started making calls, they said sure. And I found that to be fascinating because I reached out to a lot of people.
you froze. I couldn't hear you. You froze the whole.
A lot of comics that I met over the years, and I met from being in the industry behind the scenes, they just always been real people. And so I reach out and they'll respond and give me a real answer, whether it's yes or no. And that's what's been happening. And I reach out to everybody, and you see who's on my platform who, gave me a real response. And a lot of comments was like, sure. And I found that to be very fascinating. That's why I say what they bring to characterization is the real life dynamic. They're real people.
Right.
And so they don't, they don't Hollywood you.
People don't realize. I've had people say, "Man, I've always wanted to talk to you. I just didn't think you was going to talk to me. I thought you'd have your people.
Yeah.
Your people, like my people. Why don't you just hit me up?
Yeah.
Like I work with different. Like for instance, I work with different publicists. I work with different people at times.
Yeah.
But I don't have my people. Like I don't have a crew. Like I have different comedians I work with and stuff like that. But we don't have like no, we can't talk to people. I've been lucky. Like I would go to the award shows. I remember my ex. But no, I would go to the award shows, and she couldn't understand that I would stop every other step because I would see people I knew, and like we used to go to the Soul Train Awards. Every year I used to go to Soul Train Awards, and even though it's not in my genre with comedy, I just would go so they could see me, network, get black folks on board. There were some projects I was working on where we wanted to bring more political power and use entertainment. I did a thing with called Zulu Rising, where we go into juvie centers and talk to young brothers and tell them when they get out, they can go another direction instead of the direction they're going. And then I would show them a picture of me at like the Oscars, and then a picture of me with a mugshot to show that you can go from this to this.
Yeah.
You can actually go from being like this, so there are other options of you not going back and getting in the system.
Yeah.
And I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years until I would bring real speakers in, because when you brought in a brother with a suit and tie and he would try to tell black people that this is where you have to do it, these little thug ass motherfuckers was not listening. They would take their chair and turn it around and not even listen to them.
Yeah.
But when I brought some like real hard knock dudes that made it, they would talk to them, not no corny shit. I remember the first time I did it when I came in, because I was like nervous. I'm like, are these little kids at this juvie center gonna listen to me? And I just made it a joke. I was like, look, obviously y'all like men, and there's nothing wrong with that. But apparently y'all want to just be around the other dudes. And I'm like, and they were like, what you trying to say? Well, look, I'm gonna go out and go to the movie with this woman. You can't do that because you're too busy going back into the system so you can be back around a bunch of dudes. So I get it, y'all like dudes. Like, no, that's not, all of us ain't like that. And then we start the conversation, and I start clowning them like, I'm like, this dude over here, you can tell he like dudes. And just messing with him, right? And I would say, ain't nothing wrong with that, bruh. And then he's like, but no, that ain't it. So and then I'd open him up by just messing with him a little bit. But you couldn't just come in and just start talking at them. You had to talk with them.
Yeah.
And then also I would help some brothers when they would get out, young guys. I would say, hey, man, look, we working on this independent movie. Instead of you going back doing some dirt, why don't you come over there and we throw you some chips. And then, that way you ain't going back and trying to thug it out. And it was working for a while until one of the people I hired to go do the speak there choked one of the kids.
Wow.
Yeah, because he used to be a blood,
Yeah.
And I didn't know that, you know, he went in there and the kids started, you know, rah-rahing up on him. And I guess the old him kicked back in. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then they said, we can't have this at the facilities where your entertainers are choking the youth. They discontinued it. So I now I do it online where and then Hope Flood. You know who Hope Flood is? Comic.
I interviewed. You see her on my IG. I interviewed her.
Well, I did stuff for her, and teaching comics how to monetize, you know, their social media because I've done pretty well at that.
Yeah.
I made some decent chips, man, just on the strength of just like I would release albums online.
Yeah.
It's just people say, well, you ain't gonna have no big corporation back. Nope. I would just say, hey, everybody, I got a comedy album gonna be dropping Tuesday.
Yeah.
Fuck with me. And I would just do it that way. And then people would saw, you know, like one of my albums, one of my comedy albums, not Shangri. Shangri, I was with a label. My second one, Live on Broadway, I sold 36,000 downloads.
Wow.
And people say, well, that ain't nothing. It is if you don't have to cut nobody else in.
Yeah.
If you just do it direct.
Yeah.
You know, I sold 36,000, and people were like, you got to understand, you can't release a single with comedy. Like with an album, I could put one song out and it'll make, whereas what I'm gonna put one joke out. Yeah, like, yeah, man, y'all need to buy my joke single. You know, so I was very proud of myself, and I tell people that all the time. Yeah, I sold 36,000, and then you hear people say, yeah, I sold 300,000 copies. Like, no, for me to do that shit on my own and sell that much, I was amazed, and I was so humbly blessed. Just felt like, wow, this is so cool, and that's why I think what you're doing is cool, man. Let me tell you something. You doing your thing, and you continue to do your thing, and you should definitely reach out. I'll tell some people to do the shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you. I'll get you some hitters.
No,
man,
it's definitely coming together, and it's growing. It's growing really fast, and I'm excited about it. And
you should be.
So definitely, we gonna definitely partner. And
you should monetize. Yo, man, there's a couple of things I gotta hip you to. You should monetize. I'm monetizing it. Definitely, man. There's a couple of things where you can drive more traffic. Like all my stuff is organic. Right now, I'm focusing a little bit more on Instagram, but I focused on my website because of an email. Because the center of all things is email. You can't even sign up for certain shit without an email. So, like I have 3.6 million emails signups.
Yeah, yeah.
So but
we'll talk. In conclusion, what is a misconception? If you had to clear up one misconception, what would that be?
Misconception about me?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good question. God damn you, man. That's a good ass question. God damn it. God damn it. The misconception about me is that well, I'm definitely nobody, and people that know me, and most of the people in the industry that know me know that I reach out. I ain't that type of person. Like if somebody wants to work with me, I work with them. As long as it's not compromising me as a black man, as long as it's not compromising me as a man or anything like that, I'm down.
Please tell us your handles and how they can get a hold to you, because they're about to kick us off.
Oh shit, we did. It went that fast?
Yeah.
Yo, real quick, at Comedian Shang, but check out the website, iamshang.com. The other special name, Shangri's on there. Yes, that's the name of the special, Shangri. Shangri. Yeah. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you keep supporting all my people that came, that will see this, because I'm going to rethink it. Make sure you support this brother. Make sure that you actually actively support this brother. Yes, and don't fuck around. When this COVID's over, I'll see you in the street. So make sure you support him.
For another interview with Hollywood Now, we're here with Shane Forbes, and continue to support. Reach out on all social media, Kingstown Entertainment, Hollywood Now on YouTube, James Clay the interview. Please subscribe, share, like, and just reach out and get involved and support. You know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing the platform, brother. I hope to bring you back on real soon, and we definitely be in touch. Thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, man.
Keep doing what you're doing. Okay?
I am, man. All right, be safe.
Thank you.
All right.